paid in full, set close, cash collected. These are different terms that you might be listening to and you're like, what the heck are those things? But as a remote closer, these are things that you absolutely 100% need to know. So we're gonna go over a handful of them in this video, so make sure to stay tuned. All right, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Aaron here from the Remote Closing Academy. Welcome back. And as I was creating some of the first couple videos, I started to think about, I'm using a lot of like industry specific like verbiage and jargon, and I'm not sure if everyone is going to understand the abbreviations and this verbiage that I'm using in these videos. So I thought I'd take a little bit of a step back and just bring it to the just bare bones basics of remote closing. So if you're a little bit more advanced, this whole video might not be for you, just full disclosure. But if you want to hang out and listen to some of the ones that we're going to go over and say, oh yeah, I definitely knew that one, then obviously stay tuned for the video. So we're going to go over probably about 10 different ones in this video. So again, we're going to jump in there. Quick reminder, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so you get updated every single time we go over anything about remote closing, sales, objection handling, and ultimately how to get placed on some of these high ticket teams. Okay, so let's go to the first one. This is gonna be PIF, or paid in full, or PIF. This is something where, in a couple of the teams that I've been in, we'll use like, piffy, like kind of like a joke within the teams. And all PIF means is paid in full. So let's just say you go into a specific offer and you're selling a $5,000 weight loss program, right? All that means is when you sell it to that person, you get all money up front. So they give you the $5,000 straight up front, paid in full. Now that broken down, you might hear things like 2Pay or 3Pay. That just basically means that instead of 5,000 paid in full, it's going to be, they're going to pay that 5,000 over 2 payments or 3 payments. And yeah, so they're kind of all in the same realm, but PIF, just know that as paid in full. Next up is KPI, which is key performance indicator. So to give you an example, let's say your KPI as a closer is 20%, right? It's your key performance indicator of what you are going to be shooting for. So let's just say, for example, again, you're supposed to be closing at 20% minimum. And then let's say that's the minimum, but you're currently closing at 15%. We use that as a gauge or as a metric that we can figure out, okay, you're under that. Why is that, right? Because you always want to be optimizing on, becoming better. Or let's say you're like completely just crushing past that, right? That gives you just an idea of, okay, cool, I'm above the KPI of 20%. So just think of KPI, key performance indicator, as just the number that is going to track how well or not so well you're doing. Now, the next ones are super important and they're pretty much in the same realm, but it is cash collected versus revenue. And the reason this is important is because 99% of the time in most offers, you are going to get paid your commission based on cash collected. And what cash collected is just the amount of cash that is collected from the specific person you're talking to. So let's just say you're on a $5,000 offer, you're selling that to someone and they do, like we talked earlier, let's say they do a 2Pay, right? That means that it's going to be split in half. So you'd be getting $2,500. You're not going to get paid commission, let's say 10% commission as a closer. You're not going to get paid that 10% of the 5,000. You're going to get 10% of the cash collected, right? Because it wouldn't make sense for a business owner to give you money that doesn't really exist, right? Because 10% of 5,000, you're not actually getting the 5,000. That was kind of confusing. Hopefully that makes sense. Jeff, you're going to have to throw some of the stuff up on screen, but let's turn cash collected into revenue. So revenue is the amount of money that is made after, let's say in theory, that person was to pay everything, right? So for example, let's say you're on, again, the $5,000 offer. Let's say you close 4 deals. 5,000 times 4 is 20,000, right? That's $20,000 in revenue. But if they don't pay all of that, right, and you only collect a specific amount of cash, that's going to be cash collected, right? The front end cash. So let's say they're all split pays, right? 2 pays. You're going to collect $10,000. So you would get paid your commission on that, on cash collected, but the revenue is actually $20,000. So businesses are going to want to track both of those, even though the revenue is the projected amount of money that's going to be made. Now, for my appointment setters out there, this one is going to be extremely important, and that is set close. So all that means is one of the appointments that you set actually went to a closed deal, right? I know that seems like super obvious, but the verbiage that's going to happen within internally is like, okay, Caitlin got 20 set closes. Actually, the Caitlin on our team, she got 40 set closes last month, which is like literally unheard of, not only within the company, she broke the record, but also just in general, like that's absolutely insane. This next one is also pretty simple, but as a closer, this is going to be one of your main metrics that you're keeping track of, and that is your close ratio or your close percentage. So a lot of times, like the minimum KPI, remember KPI we talked about earlier, minimum KPI in most of the industry is going to be at about 20%. All that means is you're closing 20% of the deals that are actually on your calendar and that actually show up, right? So for example, if let's say you take 100 calls, right, and you close 25 of those, you're closing at 25%. I made the number super simple because it just makes it easier for me. But the close percentage and your close ratio is going to be, again, one of the most important metrics that you keep track of so that you know if you're getting better, you're staying the same, or maybe you're dipping under your average close ratio. Now, this one has come up a ton in the past couple of videos, and in my head, because I say it so many times, it's like, oh yeah, that's what it is. But offer is very simple, but all the offer is the actual program or the system that they're selling. So, you've probably heard me again saying before, if you're selling a $5,000 offer or a $10,000 offer, all offer means is the physical thing that you're selling. So if it's a fitness offer, right, it's just a program or a course around fitness, or let's say an Airbnb offer, right? It's a program or a system or a mentorship or a course that you're selling to somebody else. So again, that's what the offer is. Simple, but also you might be confused if you didn't know what it was up to this point. Now, this next one is for some of my appointment setters out there once again, and the term is triage. I feel like this is like a spelling bee, but the term is triage or triage call. Now, what this is usually, in certain circumstances as an appointment setter, you might be going back and forth with someone in let's say direct message, right, on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it may be. And sometimes you'll say, hey, cool, like what time do you have to talk on the phone, with our closer? And sometimes they'll book a call with you. Other times they might be a little bit skeptical, or you might be skeptical of them of actually being a good fit for the program or the offer. So then you want to set up a triage call, which all that is you getting on a really quick 5, 10, 15-minute call with that person and just really learning a little bit more about them. So learning about their goals, where they currently are. In certain circumstances, you want to, qualify them financially to make sure that they can afford the program. Because in that case, you want to make sure that when you set them on the closer's calendar, they're not going to waste their time, essentially. Not in a bad way, but just in general, we all have to optimize on our time. And sometimes they might also, want to be wasting their time. So this allows you to qualify them, have a quick conversation, maybe even build up a little bit of rapport so that when they jump on the call with the closer, right, it gives them a little bit more trust and a little bit more authority, knowing that you already talked to them a little bit. Now, this next one isn't super sales related, but it's DFY versus DWY. And all that means is done for you versus done with you. Now, this is important to know as you're going and learning more about different offers. Remember, we talked about offers earlier. This is all going to make sense after this video. But done with you, or DWY, done with you, is a program that's more like coaching, right? It's not necessarily something where they're doing a service for that person, like a done for you service, right? DFY. But done with you is more, think of it as like coaching, and then done for you is more of a service where they're having something done for them, right? I mean, I know that seems like super straightforward and obvious, but a lot of times when you're looking at different offers, there'll be like done for you, like kind of like consulting offers, and done with you, again, like coaching type offers. Now, last and certainly not least, we have the last term, which is one you don't want to hear, and that is no-show or being ghosted. I'm sure you've probably heard of that one before. So all that means is, let's say you set an appointment, or someone sets an appointment on your calendar if you're a closer, and they just don't show up for the call for whatever reason. Something else comes up, they forgot, they didn't get the invite, whatever it may be. Now, we will go over further content about how to alleviate those no-shows and make sure you have a really high show rate. The amount of people that are coming to your calls, I guess add that to the list. Show rate equals the percentage of people that actually show up to the calls versus not showing up. So add that to the list. But yeah, we'll go over a ton of videos of how to alleviate and get that show rate lower so that you're having more opportunity. And the reason that it's not, it's pretty self-explanatory, but you want to have as many quality calls on your calendar as possible. So you have more people to talk to every day, more percentage, or I guess a higher percentage of being able to close people because they're all good calls. So again, we'll talk more about how to alleviate those and make sure that you have a low no-show rate, because that's going to be a really important metric to the success success of you as a high ticket closer. So with that being said, guys, let me know down in the comments if you got any value out of this video. Also, if you want, actually the first video down in the description below, or the first link is going to be a video of my partner Cole, the founder, owner of Remote Closing Academy, how he first jumped into the industry, was making like $1,500 as a bartender every single month, all the way up to learning this one high value recession proof skill, remote closing, and actually making 30 to 40 grand a month every single month in commissions. So if you want to learn exactly how he did that, just the step-by-step process, and also you being able to take pieces out of the video to be potentially do that yourself, again, click the link down below. No fluff there. You're not going to be sold anything, but of course at the end of the video, if you want more help and you want us to partner up with us and have us help you get placed in some of the companies that we're working with, potentially, if you're good enough, of course, and learn about that process, of course, it'll be at the end of that video. So first link down below, click that. You're going to go over to another page, check out that 19-minute video, and it'll go really deep into detail all about remote closing. With that being said, guys, hopefully you learned something. Let me know down in the comments what you learned. If you knew everything, great, awesome. What was your grade on this test, I guess we can say. And also, quick reminder, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so to get notified every single time we upload a brand new video about remote closing, sales, objection handling, pitching, and how to get placed as a remote closer in some of these businesses. So with that being said, guys, Aaron here from the Remote Closing Academy. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you guys in the next one. Talk soon. Peace.